How do y'all not?
The review's over. We've just been told that's how we win the game.
The guy with 500 cons says don't die. Yeah.
How do y'all feel about no longer having a health pod and a regen pod?
It's orange regen pots, 1000%.
Nah, mana
It's
for fort.
fucking ass, dude.
No, mana pots are fucking ass. It's orange regen.
Moron was sitting at the desk when they went, "Hey, I know what we'll do."
Alright, knock
Super
that shit
chill.
off.
Listen, they had an all-in scenario in the middle of our respawn, and we got a respawn wave
fucking
instantly.
yappers, shut the fuck up, D-Nick. Let Blade talk. All right, Blade.
We're gonna get this bitch going. This will probably take, I don't know, like 30-40 minutes. This won't be crazy. Pretty fucking surface level for the most part, but do we need cruiser VODs that I have watched. Also, I'm streaming this, so freedom. And there will be a VOD type shit. But we'll go ahead and jump right in. Y'all can see the stream, right?
Type shit.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
W. All right, main ball Mac review. Agenda. We're gonna get a little intro. We're gonna really talk about crashing and declumping for this army in particular. Is what I on, especially like wraps on crashes and the body blocking on crashes was so horrible at last war, and that's fucking Scrandy squad. Declumping should just be like understood at this point. If you aren't already doing that, the second you're done crashing, you're just pulling. Literally, the second you're done with your crash, you need to be. Then we'll go into side point because there were some groups not playing that correctly. All and like macro for each quad. We won't go like super in depth on the macro for each quad because that would take forever. But we are going to talk about it a little bit. And just should be aiming for what you should be trying to do. After that, we're just going to talk about miscellaneous stuff that just didn't really have. So that is our agenda for tonight. First things first. Intro. Point tick is important because it forces the other side to do something, right? So whether you're on attack or defense, if you're on attack and you are spinning the fuck out of it. That's why when point is like super high spin, caller's like, wait, make them send. You're forcing them to have to be the aggressor, right? They take the point. Or if it's spinning and not at like 99, it's spinning, they have to start looking back in. Play towards Oppo is have to look back in and try to detail. If you're on defense, forcing the point to not spin and just stay stagnant, it forces the enemy to try to send crashes over. Try to look for something. I've been the caller for wars where our army is just getting diffed on attack, and you really just have to keep fucking praying you hit a Giga Crash just to get some kind of spin going. So, point tick is all about forcing the side to do something. Obviously, it's how you win the war, but think of it as pressuring the other side of the other army to do something. Respawns, sounds like the fucking defense bug might be gone, but still important, right? Respawns are a thing, just you're stalling 4 respawns on defense, so if you lose a lot in a crash on defense, understand that your job is to just stay alive until your respawns get back out. You're stalling. You're playing life. You're no longer the aggressor. You are just looking for sacreds, looking for safe places to be on point and stall take. Know it's coming on attack. So this is mostly the caller that should be doing this, but you can be thinking about it too, right? Like especially if you're a top quad, you know that their respawns are coming up soon, and you have the respawn caller on, not muted. Then they're coming up soon. They're going to be coming out of their fort, obviously. Play towards that. You being one person off of point, stopping 6 people from getting back to point is incredibly worth it. I'm not saying all the top quads should just sprint at their fort when it gets high. No, it's coming, right? Like, use especially VGs here. This is your bread and butter, right? Drop an ice wall on their road. Drop a snow globe just to fucking slow them down. Drop a heavy auto while standing on point. Know it's coming. Be prepared for it. Or be surprised by a respawn wave. Lastly, abilities are used for pressure and crashes. That is all. Do not use abilities to pad damage. You do not use abilities to try to kill somebody. Unless it's like, obviously, they're just dogging them, right? But like, you should not grav well somebody just to try to get one pick. Your grav well is pressure a quad. Lump people together, make them get out of there. Fight somewhere else, right? Your ice wall is to push people into a certain zone. Not just dropping an ice wall randomly. You should be thinking about why you're dropping this ice wall. It is pressure. Then obviously crashes, right? Like, whenever a crash is coming up, bruisers, you better fucking have a grav mail or a shockwave, right? One of the two. VGs, don't have your ice wall, better have your scream combo on fucking lock. Ready to vines that shit, ready to scream that shit. Type in, bro. So, that is the little intro there. Just nice little picture of crash, right? Like, your side point, and like, this is attack for a lot of this, right? Side point, bot strong, top weak, bot weak. Crashing. Talk about crashing. Again, this is what I really, really want everybody to crash from the angle. To open a little visual after this slide to kind of like show what I mean by that, but crashing from the angle. So let's say the crash is bot left, right? Hacking, crash is bot left, right? This thing. Yeah. You are top strong, you are crashing from this direction. Crashing from the angle at all times. If you're bottom weak, crash is called bot left. You're crashing from the, not just whatever angle coming in at. Pulling the army if you're doing. Crash from the angle. Save an important ability. We kind of talked about that. Body blocking is completely OP. Do not worry so much about being like right in the middle. Crash is called if you are a quad group player. Focus instead on being in the way of people trying to escape in your direction. Quad, right? I don't care about how much damage your Dedo does or how many people hits. I care about people not escaping from your direction. Their entire crash, if our entire crash gets fucked because 3 or 4 people got out from your direction, that's bad. You should kill yourself. Lastly, when you're crashing, get the fuck out as soon as you're done. Obviously, if it's a crash, this is, if it's a recrash, and it's a recrash, it's a recrash, and they, you know, they don't have anything, they don't have any juice left in the tank, they just sent, and you can greed it a little bit, you got a lot of kills, absolutely chase kills, dog them, get them off point, start spinning. But, and again, that we're attacking, right, get the fuck out as soon as you're done with your combo. Not greed for a kill, do not get caught in a recrash. The worst thing that can happen is we send a fat crash, get like 3 kills, we have all the pressure in the world on point, it's 4 people. Now none of that mattered, and we're stalling out, and that's... Now I quickly show this. Eggplant emojis, that's us. Bad guys. So first let's do this slide. A little messy here, but bear with me. Got our bonfire, we've got our side point. Bad guys, right? This is us on defense now. Bad guys are structured like part, structured like also. Not like y'all's bot weak, bot strong. 5 is top weak. So 6, you're playing top strong, right? You're helping out this. At 5, you're doing the side, you're playing a lot easier. But same kind of idea, right? You're playing top 90% of the time. Back and forth, helping where they 3 guys are probably not going to be allowed to play down here, so a lot of times you're going to be playing point or same. Probably not going to be allowed to play down here a lot. You're going to be oppo a lot, grouping. For this again, when a crash is called, right? We're in our normal positions. We're back on attack for a second. We're back in our normal positions. You know, bot strong, you're playing towards this midline. 6, you're playing down towards the midline a lot. You're playing up in here, pushing healers off. When a crash is called, this is what I need you guys to be doing. Let's say you're here, right? You're a bruiser, and you're right here. You're dogging somebody close to the flag. When you hear the caller start saying, we're looking bottom left, we're looking for a bottom left crash, immediately you are moving off the point, and you're starting to wrap, right? Immediately. You are not looking for like this kill anymore. That 1 kill does not mean fucking shit. You're immediately looking down here to make sure you get this wrap. You are the most important quad on attacks because it is your job to wrap the crash that we're going to be calling most of the time. You're immediately rotating down here, getting the wrap. Bot strong, or top strong, you are immediately working your way down and getting, again, hitting it from the angle of your crash. You guys are going to be playing all the way over here. You're just trying to get here in time, right? You're coming straight shot from here to here. Lastly, you guys, you're playing on this. You have a long way to go. You're not going straight here. That's the top week's job. You're not coming here because now all they're going to do is this. They're just going to run right out. You're wrapping downward and hitting it from the bottom of point. This is how you get the full wrap that leads to the fat fucking crashes. And again, you are not jumping in to the middle of the crash because they're just going to jump out your direction. So when you do this wrap, bot strong, again, you guys are hella important. When you do this wrap, you're staying like right here. Drop a shockwave. Drop a grav well, like throw a grav well. I don't care if your Dedo doesn't hit the people on this part of the crash. I care that your body's in the way and your ice walls and your CC is in the way of them trying to get out from your direction. Because the rest of your army, they're covering these angles, or they should be. That's not your job. So, that is just crashing in a nutshell, wrapping from the proper angles. The second you're done, they're going to have people coming in, doing the same thing to you. The second you're done with your crash, get the fuck out. Fuck out, get to top, get wherever the other side of point is. Sending it up here. Idea, right? Up strong, wrapping. Bot strong, you're coming up and wrapping. You guys are wrapping. Wrapping. Second the crash is done, second you're done blowing your load, fuck out. That makes sense to everybody. Do we have any questions? Stop for a second. All good?
How do you feel about strong side stepping off? What's your take?
Definitely okay. Talk about that a little bit more. But definitely okay.
How do you feel about weak side crashes when bruisers are stepped off as well? I guess this is probably the real question.
When strong side bruisers are stepped off?
Yes, strong side bruisers are stepped off, and the crash is called weak side.
Obviously, if you don't have anything for a crash, like, get more value pushing. Like, let's say, right? Say they're super fat down here, bot weak. Have your top strong bruiser up through Oppo, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not worth you guys running all the way across point, picking up all of this for most of the right. If point is like 90, not black and white, but there is like, you gotta kind of make that judgment. You don't have cooldowns. Like if you have Dedo, you don't have a shock, you don't have a grab, you just Oppo and out. You coming all the way down here lets their healer all comes down. Right, unless like now they're just D-ticking because Oppo starts pushing back because left, and again it's kind of judgment call. You have cooldowns in your time, absolutely like never go to bot weak crash. But I would say it's definitely okay if you that can answer the question.
Yes. Yes, it does. Thank you.
This
This is the rest of you retards' opportunity to ask good questions. Don't waste your fucking opportunity.
Is that better, Laney? Sorry about that. Oh, you did nice. There will be more times for questions, so if we're good right now, we can keep going. But yes, please ask questions, because if you're thinking of it, someone else probably is too.
Are you gonna cover like what point team does for a crash?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that'll be miscellaneous. Okay, let's keep going here. So again, crash from your angle, declump immediately if they have a recrash. Just don't be dumb, don't get caught. You're chilling. This is just the wrap. Ended. Alright, side point. Let's talk about side point macro. I'm going to talk about it on defense. That was one of the VODs. I watched a defense VOD. One of y'all uploaded. And it was a bottom strong POV. We're playing. That is wrong. So on attack, right? Again, here's like what the quads are. On attack, obviously this is the setup. Point team is going to come and run right in here. Actually, let's do them last. So on attack, on a push in. Let's just talk about it from attack POV. 5, you're the top weak. You're immediately coming in, and you're just usually going to this mid. Trying to just kind of force your way onto point, start ticking. 3, you're kind of doing the same thing. Bot weak, coming into point, kind of along this midpoint here. You can wrap, towards Oppo and help bot strong get set up, but most of the time you're just trying to get on point and start spinning. You're drawing aggro, especially as a bruiser here. I'll be talking as most of the time. We have VG questions. I can try to answer those, but there's probably someone qualified than me. So, as a bruiser, right, you're coming in, you're pushing in, you're trying to draw aggro. You want people to look at you, and you want to ask your healer for a sacred the second you get. They should already know that they need to drop you a sacred the second you get to point, but in case they don't, the second I start tiptoeing onto point and I see 4 bruisers looking at me, let me get a sacred, sacred about right, give me a sacred about right. Nice, and now you can play there, right? And I'll talk on that more later because sacreds are super important on both sides. But 3, you're pushing in. 5, you're pushing in. L's job is pretty easy. 4 and 6, there's not enough room down here, like really show what's gonna happen. But obviously 9, I put 10 all the way out here. LARPing and Oppo, they're doing, nobody knows what they're doing. 9 is basically doing the same thing, right? They're pushing super, super wide, like from this direction, not really that grouped over here. 8 and 9 are, way out here. This is main bubble. So let's just pretend like they're getting their fights all the way over here, right? They're pushing this way. Four and 6, you guys are pushing in through bottom. In through bottom, you're helping push through Oppo. You're helping our 8 get established, which helps our 9 get established, which helps our 10 get. Your main job on a push in is to get Oppo established. We want them set up because the second we can get Oppo set up and in a good position, that's when we can start looking for crashes. Until we get Oppo in a good position, we can't send a crash. Our 8 isn't here to sweep people that are trying to run. You guys aren't up here to actually collapse from the top side at all. So you guys are pushing in. This is all pretty self-explanatory. If we do have questions, unmute and ask them during. But hopefully this is all pretty self-explanatory. You guys are pushing Oppo, or you can move all the way up to like the midline here. Oppo established. That is a job when we first live, get Oppo established. Point team, you guys have a bit of a different job here. Your push to point is super fucking easy. Right? Their point team's going to try to contest you, but it's flail versus flail. 2 flails versus 2 flails. Low damage on the push in. Both sides have cleanses. So you're going to get the point. What you do from here is never the same. This is where you as a player need to see where you can provide the best value. So point team pushes in. I'm going to delete. Point team pushes in. Top weak should have no problem pushing in as well. 1 and 2, you guys get to this spot. Now have a decision to make. Where can I provide more value for my team? Is more value for my team pushing down into bot weak? Is our bottom weak kind of getting farmed? Do they have their point team down here and stuffing this and not letting it get close? Our healers are, getting dicked down by their quad DPS. You have to look. You come to this point and you look around. You're either deciding you're going to help bot weak, you're going to throw a grav well down there, you're going to get down there and shockwave it, you're going to drop an AB in someone's back, feel that you're there, pressure them. Again, it's all about pressure. Or you're going to come down into bot strong. This is almost always going to be super fucking cluttered on this push in. Their 4 and 6 are going to be matching this entirely. You can come down here, throw a grav well. Again, Oppo getting set up is super, super important on attack. So getting them established is what is most important. So if they are super, super cluttered down here, again, all it takes is like a grav mail. All it takes is a shockwave AB. It doesn't take much. You don't have to spend 20 seconds down here like chopping on. Just come down here, make them feel your pressure. Point team is all about like, I don't know if y'all play League. It's going to be a weird analogy if you don't, but like junglers in League gank people. They outnumber the fight and they make people feel pressure, right? You look for picks, overload that area of the fight. That is point team. You are looking around, seeing where you can apply your pressure, overload the fight momentarily, and then find a new place to do it. So 1 and 2, when you guys push in, again, you're going to have an easy push to point. The army's doing what they're supposed to be, and you're not the only ones pushing to point. So when you do get on, you're looking immediately, where can I provide value? We're not sending a crash right away. We have to get oppo established, so feel free to use your cooldowns a little bit. Obviously, you're not fucking ripping a debt, but you're pushing in and you're seeing where can I help my army push in and get established. Does that kind of make sense on what point team does and what all the different quads do on a push in? Do we have any questions there? Dope.
Nope.
All right, the opposite side for a second here. Weak side quads, y'all's is pretty self-explanatory. I really just want to talk about point team and strong side quads. Point team, same kind of idea, right? Obviously at the beginning, you're trying to stuff their point team. You're not going to be able to. Like if their point team's competent, they're just going to walk in to point. So immediately you're matching spin. You're seeing if anybody's low and doggable, if they're not on a sacred. If that's not the case, don't waste your time up here, right? Go overload this weak side. Go, like, don't let their weak side quad step on. Come down here and really fucking stuff their 4 and 6. Because if their 8 and 9 tries to push up and their 4 and 6 is stuck down here with you guys, look what happens like behind you, right? This is immediately overloaded by 2 quad groups. Oppo's not getting established, they don't get to send a crash. Obviously the caveat here is if you are all 10 pushing down here and not paying attention to your surroundings, they could just immediately rip a crash on you. They could just immediately send this, their point team comes down, their quad groups just immediately come over. If point team gets wiped off rift, not chill. That rarely happens, but again, just like, you're not just literally like, it's not that black and white, be aware of your surroundings still. But again, point team, you are making the enemy army feel your pressure. Wherever you go, they can tell that you're there and they can't play there anymore. So on defense, when they're pushing in, immediately look for where can I provide the most value? Where can I drop a grav mail and, take a third of their bruiser's health and all of a sudden they don't feel comfortable moving past you. They need to stay down here for a second. This lets them do that. So that's kind of the macro of the push in. I definitely wanted to talk about that. It sounds like we are all good on that though. Cool. That is a useless slide. We're gonna go back. Touch on miscellaneous now. This sacreds. Again, I'm gonna be talking as a bruiser here. It's important for everybody though, especially healers. Like the way that I talk about it as a bruiser, you should think of it as a healer from like what we're paying attention to. And that not only helps like you as a healer know what you should be doing for your bruisers, but also what not to do with it. Because again, just think about it from your perspective the whole time I'm talking about it, even if you're not a bruiser. So as a bruiser though, pay attention to sacreds, please. Like I see a lot of y'all playing on Play-Doh graphics and shit. Just pay attention to the green circles on the ground a little bit. Because if they're not in a sacred, they're going to take hella damage. They're going to take hella damage. If they are on a sacred, please stop dogging people. There are so many people that I will just watch like have their great axe out and they're just chopping on people on a sacred, on like an enemy sacred. And there's just no reason. That person's not dying. Like, grit or not, they're not dying. So what you do is you bait the enemy sacred, right? The second you're dogging a bruiser and a sacred gets dropped on them, move the fight somewhere else. Move it to another part of your quad. Pull away from them, make them chase you, go to another point of your quad, another part of your quad, ask for a sacred there. Fight on your own terms. If you're fighting on a sacred and they're not, you're going to win that fight. I don't care how handsless you think you are or how godlike you think they are. If you're on a sacred and they're not, you win. Plain and simple. So stop dogging motherfuckers that are standing on sacreds. Dog motherfuckers who are not standing on sacreds. And again, if you see one just get dropped on somebody that you're hitting, move the fight somewhere else. Ask for yours there. That all kind of makes sense for everybody? Cool. Next thing, ask for sacred if you know you need to hold an area. There are going to be times like this, right? back to this. Let's say the fight is crazy down here, right? Both point teams are down here on the push in. Everybody's trying to fight on this midpoint, bottom right area. Ask for a sacred. You know that you don't want to get bitched and have to run away, right? Because if you all have to turn tail and run away, they get to go do this. And this has to happen. And this gets to happen. Like, it's all a snowball effect, right? Whereas if you would just ask for a sacred while the fight was down here, so you could actually hold this spot and fight it here, none of this gets to happen. This group gets to leak out, push this back. So it's not greedy to ask for sacred. It's really fucking good to ask for sacred. If you know that you need to hold an area, hold that, or, ask for that shit. Again, midline on strong side is going to be the biggest culprit here. There's going to be times where they're trying to push the midline up and they're overloading it with their point team. Hopefully, our point team can recognize that that's happening and come help and match those numbers. But even if it's not, ask for a sacred on that midline. Play there as long as you can play there. If it's absolutely fucked and you're just going to die there through the sacred, obviously get the fuck out. If you have to give up the space, give up the space. But I'd so much rather see you cleanse and stand on the sacred and fight back to try to hold that space against stall. Kind of like how we talked about respawns. Stall that push. Because the longer you can stall it till more people get there and reinforce it, the better. And if they don't come reinforce it, that hopefully means that we're doing the same shit to them on the other side of point. Right? Our point team's outnumbering their weak side. We're shoving them out. We're fucking them. Please don't be afraid to ask for sacred. Stop their rotates. This is going to be kind of a more complicated one, so I'm going to skip to the last bullet point super quick here before on that. Last part about point team that I'll talk about is when your caller calls a crash. This is more for attacking, right? This is like when we're sending the first crash, not the recrash. But really, it's at all times. But again, mostly when we're sending the crash. Point bruisers, you're the ones that send your grav first, right? You're the ones that make the clump happen. Your quads should be wrapping and getting in position, and they're the ones that finish it, right? You're the one where the caller says, bot right, bot right, bot right. You make the grav happen bot right to make it juicy, right? You throw that shit, you go in, you drop your mail, you drop your debt, you get the fuck out. You don't get to see the kills, you're the setup. You're the one that makes it happen. You make the caller's dream come fucking true. The quad groups are the ones that wrap it, properly get the body blocks in to make the crash actually work. So I did want to talk about that. Point bruisers should not be the last ones to a crash. They should not be getting fucking 20 kills because they're getting the last deado. Obviously, there are times where you're going to be on point and you're not in the area to send the crash right away. But ideally, that's not the case. Ideally, you are the one sending the first grav. Your quads are the one wrapping it, dropping their CC to keep them there long enough to actually get the kills. Last thing I want to talk about is rotates. So after they send a crash, especially a recrash, right? Let's say we're attacking again. We're sending a crash somewhere. They're recrashing it. Let's say they get a couple kills. They have all the momentum now, right? We didn't get enough kills on our crash. They got a huge amount of kills on their recrash. They have all the pressure. I'm going to bust this puppy out again real quick. Here's the scenario, right? We're on attack, they're on defense, we send a bottom weak crash. We have all of our quads pull up. Say we get a good chunk of kills here. These fuckers die. In come their quads, right? The second that we're sending our crash, we know that we're getting out. So let's say all three of these groups do a great job. They escape before the wraps come into play. But this group rolls it up, they're looking for kills. They get collapsed on and wrapped. These dudes are now dead. We don't have cleanses or cooldowns. We're on the back foot. All of these dudes are alive. I cannot click. Big. So now, in this situation, we're all running away. We're spreading back out after our crash. These groups are going to clump up. Right? It's usually going to be one big group and one kind of big group. They're going to look around point and they're going to see low health targets from people that barely squeaked out of this crash, and they're going to chase those low targets because they have all the pressure. So let's say you're running. Big group follows to the left. Smaller group follows up top. They're chasing kills. The worst thing you can do the situation is just keep running. If we all keep running, they're going to just wrap it again and do the exact same thing to us. The best thing you can do in this situation is you, the lone little bruiser here, you still have your grab well. Your grab well just came up after the crash. Unlucky. Best thing you can do right here is you look around point, you're half health, but you have grav mail up. You see these guys getting chased, getting dogged. You know what's about to happen to your entire army. Best thing you can do, run over here, throw your grav well at this group. Because what you just did, just you, one person, what you just did by throwing your grav well here is you turned the tides of this entire rotation. You slowed this entirely to a halt, and you clumped them up. You made all of these bruisers remember, oh shit, I don't need to run for my life. That's a clump. Let's go hit the clump. Big juicy clump. So these guys see you come in and throw your grav well. They're gonna be like, oh, let's fucking go. They turn on it. Shockwave. These guys, boom, boom. You just went from getting chased on the back foot to now you're the aggressor because one person threw a grav well. Same shit goes on the other side, right? You're getting chased here. You're running. These guys are getting chased here. They're running. You throw your grav well here. You throw your grav well here. Suddenly that is completely stalled back out and we can actually operate again. All of these people just ran over like this to chase low health targets. All of our healers can step back on. Start spinning point again. So again, that's not an easy thing to see during the war. You're going to be panicking if we get a big recrash hit on us, but just something to pay attention to, right? Pay attention to the way their army's moving, the way that they're rotating. See, how can I stop this? It doesn't have to be a grav. It can be a shockwave. It can be a scream. It can be a wall. It can be any kind of form of CC, one of the big abilities, right? But slow their rotates. And even if it's not like we're re-hitting that, you coming over and graveling this, right? That means all these people get to come up here and actually regroup. Actually, you know, they can turn and fight this squad because you do that grav well. They're no longer getting pinched and collapsed on again. So, honestly, that is all that I have for what I actually prepared tonight. I'll just kind of open it up to questions.
If you're in a losing situation and you're kind of getting out-zerged, what would you say is the best way to try to split that up and kind of push it back out into the individual quads?
Yeah, are you saying like your specific quad is getting out-zerged or like the army as a whole?
Little bit of both, like in between. So like, let's say they hit, right side of point and like one group goes down, but everyone else is kind of out, but then their Zerg just comes over and like somebody doesn't throw that grav and all of a sudden like you just have a death ball on your hands that you have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Like if you guys are all clumped, stops their rates from happening, they're just deathballing you. All you really can do here is play. This is probably set angle at this point. It's fucked. Hopefully that's recognized. But I mean, all there really is to do if this kind of thing happens, they're just full deathballing around point, wiping everybody. Let's look for this. Stay alive. All find sacreds. Sacred. But yeah. At this point, it's probably just chalked. You run out into Oppo to. But I feel like that, it's probably doomed. Now, it's quads that we're talking about. Like, they have their point down here, and it's just we have our point them.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of situation, you're just trying to stall, waiting for the crash. You're staying alive, waiting. And clump them up. You can do your damage. You can make them pressure. You can try to move them around. But if you're 55 in this quad, you're just trying to stay alive. Try to find value elsewhere. Like in that last war, for instance, our group 7 got fucking honky rigged. Like absolutely idioted. Our quad groups down here, some of the people did a really good job of like noticing, oh gosh, their group 7 is literally hitting me right now from bonfire itself. I should probably go find value somewhere. Some of them did not. Some of them just stood here and just kind of accepted the damage, just kind of complained about the damage. Oh my gosh, we're losing so hard weak side. Bro, then get out of weak side, right? Like, until that shit is back on track, go overload another quad. Go get a strong point to so much rather you not victimize yourself with positioning. Like, find an area where you can. So maybe that war, it definitely was just side. Like, maybe it's you move down to here, right? Help and fight their point team. Maybe it's come up here and you force some healers off and you just abandon this quad and we have to flip. That G7 experience was not chill. But maybe, if it's not that doom, work your way up to midpoint. Come squad up with your top quad up here. Come 10v5 some people. Overload a quad. Your quad's doomed. Find a place where
Dope. Appreciate that.
yeah. Yeah, true and real, Ford. True and real, bro. Always be the aggressor, never the victim. Like, it's so important, man. Like, same thing on side gates, too. Talk about Ford at all because it's self-explanatory, but, like, be the aggressor. You should go into here with the mindset that you're better than these. Oh, and I think am I cutting out at all? Doing that in Discord. We chilling?
A little bit here and there, but it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very rare that it doesn't.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, like just be the aggressor. Like if you're a victim for too long, then you're just kind of LARPing. And like if they're shoving you off point, they're doing the job. Like you're giving them value by doing this. Let's say their point team comes down here. And you're this bottom weak quad, and let's say G7's in a normal spot like where it should be. If you're 15v5 down here and you can step point, hell yeah. You're stalling them and it doesn't really matter. But if they're forcing you off and even get back on, bro, fuck this. Like, do not be a victim. Go find somewhere where, again, like I was talking about point earlier, like ganking. Find somewhere where you can go overload that fight. Like, call your fucking group. Bro, bot week is just chalked. Let's go fucking help this. Because if you guys come up here, what are they doing now? No, they want to come up here, our healers step. They want to go back down here, you go back down here. Have your 5v5 again. Like, just out-rotate them, out-macro them, be the aggressor at all times. Try to never just victimize yourself. You notice that you're taking a shit ton of damage in your quad, and like you don't feel like you're providing any value or like forcing people off, pressuring people, go find somewhere where you can. Quads are important for the wraps, but they're not concrete crashes. Don't be afraid to leave your quad for a little bit if it's gonna actually go provide value. Obviously, don't just like to leave. Just like get tilted and say, "Yep, not going bottom anymore." Just come fucking LARP around up here because now we're fucked. But like, you're doomed. Find another place to play for a little bit. Provide some value up here. Back. Anything else?
If anybody else has any other questions, would you go over gear like that you like, Blade?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the best person for that because I'm a Mjolnir enjoyer, bro.
That's fine. You can teach him.
I'm gonna
about
keep
the
it a
Mjolnir.
stack. Okay.
Teach him
I
about the
love Mjolnir, bro. I love Mjolnir. Here's my reasoning. I'll explain myself. Okay, AB, it's a good ass ability, right? It chunks, it pressures, it rends, it's very strong. I will not like ever say anything but that. I personally don't love it. I'm just not a big fan. Mjolnir, everybody's running Enchanted Word or Elia version, right? I haven't played with the new 300 crit shit. I don't know if crit word's back or not. Probably fucking not. But let's just pretend like everyone's on Ellie and Enchanted, right? Ellie works against ranged elemental damage. Deado's included. But not Mjolnir. A melee weapon, elemental. So people that run Ellie on their gear, they usually put more gem split into physical, less into elemental. You're shitting on them with half heavies. Like, shitting on them. It is so much damage. Gavel is awkward, but I think it's fucking good, bro. Like, as an option off of AB, I think it's really good. You can't drop Path, can't drop Shock, but I drop AB for Gavel where I can, where I have Mjolnir. Because with Mjolnir specifically, it weakens them hard, like an enfeebling Maelstrom would, It's a lot of damage, and Mjolnir has ref move, so comboed with the fucking hammer perk, where you get, CDR with auto attacks, that gavel's on like a 5-second cooldown if you're hitting more than one person with it. And when you're just hitting like a quad, I mean, that shit's like 4,000 or 5,000 damage. It's just as much, if not more, than AB, depending on the other person's gear. And you have that shit back in 5 seconds if you're main handing hammer. So I do Chopper, Mjolnir. That's kind of my go-to on every server where I have it, where I, did the mutated Laz and wasn't lazy. And that means that I'm not main handing GA, right? Like, I'm not using ref move. You can't have it on Chopper. But Pen the Empowered's insane against bruisers. They're always empowered. It's insane against VGs. They're always empowered. And you just throw Maelstrom on that bitch. 2/7/25 weapons right there. As far as gear, though, I like health way more than conditioning, to be honest. I used to be a conditioning enjoyer, but I've definitely gone to the health side of things. I think it's just like, you're always going to get value out of health. You're not always going to get value out of conditioning, if that makes sense. Like, if you're running StrikeCon and you're getting dogged by a GA or a spear, you might as well not have a perk. If you have health, you always have a perk. I think it's just more all around better. I like having the extra health to play with. I think I've converted to the health side of things. Other than that, though, I think Ellie and Enchanted Ward are too close, like, in being good to really matter. Whatever, if you feel tankier with one of them, run that. If you don't. Just pick one. And then For Freedom is a necessity. Like, you're running tumblers and you're running For Freedom. You're picking just some Ellie or Enchanted Ward. I think you can mix them too. I don't think it's that deep. Like, with Grit Ward, you wanted to stack it because you changed your playstyle for Grit Ward a little bit. Like, you wanted to Grit Walk a lot more. With Ellie and Enchanted, like, you're just tankier. And you don't really do anything different because you have one or the other. So For Freedom, tumblers, throw some Ellie and fucking Enchanted Ward in there. I like health, but conditioning's fine.
And if you're not running a Mjolnir, are you still running Gavel, or are you running like Wrecking Ball?
I think it depends. I think I'm definitely not running Gavel without Mjolnir. It would be AB. I kind of switch on this. I think Wrecking Ball.
You're not using Mjolnir if you're using Gavel. The fuck?
Yeah. No, you definitely shouldn't be running Gavel if you don't have Mjolnir. But I think Wrecking Ball, low key, like, if you're good at it, if you understand it, and your group is good, and you've practiced with them a lot, and you work together really well, putting someone on the ground is more deadly than it. Like, I will say that for Wrecking Ball. But if that's not the case, and you don't feel like you're getting value out of Wrecking Ball, just run AB. You can't really go wrong with AB. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of pressure. It's a rend. It's chill. But I do think there's room for Wrecking Ball there. The chat. Luck needs to be calmed when teams. Brassy touched you with me on it. Agreed, bro. True. Listen. Yeah, those are the main points. Honestly, like, I know it's a lot to digest. This will be recorded. I'm streaming it now, so I'll put the VOD wherever you want. If you want to watch it back, absolutely watch it back. The main points I want you to take away, though, like the army rotations for the enemy and stopping rotations, that's kind of high level. You have to be paying attention to your surroundings for that. Sacreds can be kind of high level, right? Like, it sounds simple now, but when you're in a war, it's a lot different. You're probably going to forget about Sacreds for a little bit. You might remember it. You might remember we had this conversation, but you might not. So the main things that absolutely need to change, and I really want to see changed in VODs next time, is crash angles, body blocking, declumping. If we can do that better next war, this was worth it. If it's the exact same next war, probably wrap that shit up or find a new role. Stack.
On God. And get your fucking VODs reviewed.
Yeah. Alright, guys. That's all I got. 45 minutes, not bad. If you do have questions, feel free to send them in your ticket, honestly. Anybody that has access to your tickets probably knows what they're talking about. Yeah. Just just throw it in your ticket. I'll respond as much as I can. But appreciate everybody coming out. This is cool. I like doing these in a while.
Oh,
Yeah, I hope to see improvement in the next war type shit. Let's not almost lose to Scrandy.
Woo!
Everybody give Blade a round
Yeah.
of applause. Thank you, Blade.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blade.
Appreciate it.
We
The
love
goat.
you.
Yes,
you,
thank you, Blade.
Thanks, Blade.
Thank you, Blade.
All right, I will catch y'all later. Up.
Adios.
Hey, so for
All right, stream. Sorry that shit was fucked. Any apologies? Peach, kill yourself. Your favorite eye girl. Eye lady. Yeah, I don't know. My mic settings have been all weird. Apologies. Hopefully y'all got most of that. It'll be a VOD. Same thing to y'all, man. Like, if you do have questions, feel free to message. I don't mind at all. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna get the stream here. I mostly just wanted to have the VOD, and I was like, just gonna record it, and I was like, ah, fuck it, I'll just do the actual stream. So I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna go eat some dinner and chill with the doggo. But thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful night, and I'm sure we'll be New World Warring very soon here. Deuces.